All right, joining me now, our political panel to kind of digest all of this, the chairman of the Fort Bend County Republican Party in Texas and host of the 13-minute news hour, Bobby Eberle, as well as our friend Tony Katz. He hosts the program Tony Katz Today. It's always nice to talk to you both, but Tony, I want to start with you as someone was on the radio every day, like Charlie, radio, podcasting, and all the rest of it. He had a vision, he had a voice, and to see him cut down at the age of 31, I'm still trying to figure all this out. What are your thoughts?
I don't know exactly how you're supposed to answer the question, how do you figure this all out? I can't tell you that the advice that I gave my 18-year-old today was the right advice on how to process this either, as parents are talking to their kids all over the place. I can't tell you the number of calls and texts I got asking me if I'm okay. Listen, I do 6 hours of radio a day, mornings in Indianapolis, nationally syndicated, midday, nowhere near the popularity of Charlie Kirk, and people asking me because they only assume that this is the start of a lot of things, just like the shooting of President Trump at Butler was the start of a lot of things, just like the shooting that took place of those members of Congress that almost killed Steve Scalise was the start of many things. And we can go down the list, this horrifying list that takes place. So I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to advise people on how to handle this. The thing that I think I am most trying to impress upon people that I've spoken to today, and I will be tomorrow on my radio shows, is they not like us. The people celebrating his murder, the people who want to kill somebody who they politically disagree with, that's not who we are. And how we go about handling ourselves and sharing these things and sharing what lessons some may have learned from Charlie Kirk and the inspiration there, that stuff is going to matter. And it's also going to matter that we understand that we are under threat, that a war has been declared, that there really is a problem, a violent problem, and we have to be people who do two things at once: how we handle our own souls and how we prepare ourselves for whatever may come our way.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you were talking, I was looking at social media. People are now reposting what crazy people on the left are saying. You know, it looks like he bled out, Bobby, and laughing my bleeping, butt off and all of it. Like, people were celebrating this man being assassinated. I'm just angry thinking about it. Here's MSNBC host Katie Tur just moments after this news broke. Watch.
I mentioned the after effects because, as we were just talking about a moment ago with Alan, after one of the Doge employees was allegedly attacked in Washington, D.C. That's what Donald Trump used as justification to send in federal troops into Washington, D.C. to get things under control. The carjacking situation, he used that. And I know it's hard to predict the future, Mark, but you can imagine the administration using this as a justification for something.
Bobby, just the idea that the guy nicknamed Big Balls was allegedly attacked when the man was nearly beaten to death for protecting a woman, and somehow Donald Trump misused that for policy that's working in Washington. Your thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, that part disgusts me, and I was triggered by that word and then just the whole narrative. I mean, the reason he brought the troops in is because crime's out of control in Washington, D.C. It's one of the most violent places in the entire country, and when he came in, robberies are down 45% and carjackings are down 83%. So it actually works. But today is just tragic. And the governor touched on it in some of his remarks. This is a guy that would sit in a chair and hold a microphone and debate.
Yeah.
That's what he did. That's what he did. He brought discourse to a crazy, crazy world. And that's what we need to do. We need to be able to discuss ideas and agree or disagree, but this rise in political violence is just out of control. I mean, Fox had a poll just in April that was released that says, those left-leaning the majority thought that political violence, assassination against the president could be justified.
Yes.
That's the country we're living in right now, and this just epitomizes it all.
Well, on your point, I was just screenshotting Charlie Kirk some months ago said assassination culture is spreading on the left. 48% of liberals say it would be somewhat justified to murder Elon Musk. 55% say the same about Donald Trump, Tony. You know the poll that Bobby was talking about. Go ahead.
Right. And so Bobby's point is well taken. And he must experience this like we all experience this, the unwillingness to accept the very concept of free speech. As you talk about, Charlie, engaged in those debates and prove me wrong and all these things that he would do most recently with Van Jones just, 36 hours ago?
Yeah.
Come, let's discuss this regarding the murder of Irina Zarutska. That's exactly what Charlie did. Come, let's discuss this like men do. But you brought up the MSNBC thing. And I must be clear here. That wasn't the only horrific thing. Well, how Trump is going to use this. Matthew Dowd said, well, if you say hateful things, you should expect a hateful response, which is not the conversation had in a free society where people encourage open debate. That is not about civility. That's saying you better keep your mouth closed or else. And I must, if we're talking about how people feel and what they want to do, I'm sorry, you can't be somebody who partakes of sponsors of MSNBC. That has to come to an end. Until they start changing out hosts and say, we won't tolerate this on our network. If they're a sponsor of MSNBC, they cannot be a place where you put your dollars.
Bobby, I've only got 30 seconds, but I think Tony made a lot of good points, including that Charlie Kirk was having that honest debate this week with Van Jones about the North Carolina murder and said, Van, come on my podcast. I'm not going to, let's have a conversation. And Van Jones wouldn't do it, I guess.
Exactly. Tony's right on. And this is what we do. We engage in debate. And we've seen this on college campuses, whether it's Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk. Riley Gaines was trapped in a room because of the violence to shut down an event, a speaking engagement where you take questions. And so that's got to stop. We need to reflect on this. And our grief right now needs to turn to resolve. And we need to be able to stand up and reason. And debate and reason and move this country forward.
Absolutely. Well said. Bobby, Tony, thanks for being here on a tough night. We'll see you soon.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends. Share it. Spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.